I grew up what you would call in a silent family.
或者我個成長嘅過程裏邊咧，喺一個嘅靜默嘅一個嘅家庭。
With my parents talking to each other and brothers and sisters, and me being
爸爸同其
deaf,
他弟兄姊妹傾偈嘅時候咧，我聽。
I didn't really have a full relationship with the hearing community.
因為我聽唔到嘅緣故咧，我同其他嘅人咧冇一個好全面嘅一個嘅關係。
Life was kind of boring.
好似咧有時候咧就唔知。
My dad was busy.
爸爸係好忙。
Working, he had 2 jobs. The water department as a clerk, and at night as a security guard. My father was like, no, come, you can come with me. I'm like, well, how can I communicate? But he would lead me places and he would teach me things. Ping pong for one, and also Chinese checkers. Even without communication, he would use pointing and signaling. But my father wouldn't give up. He kept trying to teach me ping pong. Finally, I got it. Even without the communication. His way of communicating was to show me and to be patient and never give up. That's why I guess I became the champ of the school that I went to, playing ping pong. My mother passed away, of course, as you all know, in 1985. My father really grieved because they were together for 30-something years. He cried and cried because he was alone. He lived in an apartment for seniors. And I thought, well, maybe it would be best if he didn't live alone. So I went there to live with him, to just kind of keep him busy. I asked the apartment manager, is it okay that I move into the apartment? Because, young people were not allowed. It was only for seniors to reside in. But because of my father's situation and his grieving and loneliness, I went and lived with him for a year. At that point, I was going to school at San Francisco State University. My father would still do the cooking, which I thought was pretty impressive, because my mom used to do all the cooking. But my dad still does cook, and he cooks better than I do. I would sleep in the apartment with my father. I would wake up, and sometimes I would see that my father was asleep, but he was asleep with the blanket like over his head, and I would see that continually. But I remember growing up as a kid, he never slept that way. Well, a year afterwards, when my father remarried to Lao, and then I married my wife, Amelia. And then during sleep, one night, my wife covered my mouth. She's like, what's wrong? She said, you're so loud. It's like lightning striking. It's just so loud, it's like thunder. So I really kind of pitied my wife. She said every time I snored, she would like hop up out of the bed. And the reason now I understand, my snoring bothered my father, but he was patient, and all he would do was cover his head while he slept. So that was really impressive to me. Okay, you know that I'm married, right? I'd sleep on the first floor, right? And this children sleeping on another floor would still hear me snoring. So my children were also patient with me. I have mild sleep apnea. When my father got struck with Alzheimer's, that was in 2005, his wife moved back to Hong Kong. But I am thankful for his wife, Lau, who took care of my father, took care of him very well for 19 years.
好多謝佢咧喺過去嘅19年咧，對爸爸嗰個好嘅照顧。
But he did not return to Hong Kong. He stayed here for health reasons.
佢因為佢有自己嘅緣故咧，就留喺呢度。
My father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2005, but he refused to give in to his sickness. He wanted to live a normal life.
佢咧就雖然有病痛，但係都想過一個正常嘅生活。
Sometimes my father did have trouble trying to communicate for himself. Annie would help him. I saw that during visitations.
但係咧佢總之咧佢都盡量過一個正常嘅生活咧。
And my dad's Alzheimer's, I was, I guess, somewhat relieved because with me or with the deaf community, sometimes he would go to events, maybe to the church, to picnics, and my dad wouldn't worry because he wouldn't have to talk. Because everybody would talk. He would just smile and wave hello. So he felt about the deaf community as he does about me. And my dad, he would work through the, I'm sorry. I'm still, furniture maker, I think, yes. But then got sick. Right, okay. But then he got sick, okay. And no matter what was wrong, he still kept going and going, playing ping pong. We also believe that, having Alzheimer's and exercise helps, I guess, block and helps keep the mind from degrading. There's also, I want to thank my sister Annie, my wife Amelia,